Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Sunday, December 18th, 2016. NFL Week 15 Sunday games are about to get underway. We're going to look at the Vikings hosting the Colts game set for today. In the preseason, I wrote about the significance of this game on this date and talked very much about the number 93. Today's news is that Adrian Peterson, the star running back for the Minnesota Vikings, is returning to this game exactly 93 days before his birthday. And keep in mind, when I made the video before the season began talking about this game in 93, Adrian Peterson wasn't injured yet. He wasn't out. He wasn't expected to miss the majority of the season. What I am showing you definitively is how professional sports are scripted. I have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt for any man, woman, child with a brain that professional sports are scripted theatrics involving rigged, predetermined outcomes, fake injuries, and more. None of my critics have any argument. The case is closed. How many more examples do you need? There's not a single argument out there that can prove that sports aren't scripted based on what I've shown. That said, just because sports are scripted, it doesn't always mean you can correctly determine who will be the champion before the season begins. In the last year, I called the NBA championship perfectly before the season began, Cavs over Warriors. The year prior to that, newer in this study, I said that the NBA Finals would be Warriors and Cavs, which it ended up being. So 2 years in a row, got the NBA Finals right. Last year, in October, I said the Broncos would win the Super Bowl. People said I was crazy. Peyton Manning was washed up. I said, you're damn right, Peyton Manning's washed up. That's going to be part of the joke when he wins it, throwing wounded ducks not seen since Rex Grossman. And that's exactly what happened. Peyton Manning throwing wounded ducks and then hoisting the Lombardi trophy. In November last year, I said it would be Broncos over Panthers. I said Von Miller would be the MVP and there would be a Black Panther tribute. Predicted all of those things correctly. Definitive proof sports are scripted. Last year in spring training, I said the Cubs would win the World Series. They did. I've already proven my point. Some of my predictions, they're not always correct, but overwhelmingly they are, and I have shown the world how sports are scripted and how to decode the scripting. So with that said, let's look at today's game between the Vikings and Colts because the alignment is amazing. Adrian Peterson is returning today 93 days before his birthday. 93 is the number for Saturn, the keeper of time. Very special number to the gang of Freemasons, Jesuits, Zionist Jews who control rigged sports worldwide. Recall the NBA Finals last year, Game 7. The final score was 93-89. The game was played in Oracle Arena. In Gematria, Oracle Arena equals 93. The Warriors lost with 89 points. King James equals 89. It was the real King James's birthday, June 19th, the date of Game 7. That was a date with 61 numerology. Finals equals 61. Both the Cavs and Warriors came into Game 7 having scored 610 points, 6-1-0, a lot like 61 for finals. Every professional sport is scripted with the calendar by the numbers. As I pointed out earlier this season, December 18th, this date in most parts of the world is written 18/12. 18 in numerology is 1 plus 8 equals 9. 12 is 1 plus 2 equals 3. So 9/3 in numerology is the date December 18th. Adrian Peterson coming back on this day 93 days before his birthday. Minnesota Vikings and Indianapolis Colts are also two teams that have 93 gematria. In Pythagorean, they sum to 75. If you use your S exceptions, both teams have two S's in their name. For each S, you can add 9 more. S can be worth 1 or 10. When S is worth 10, Minnesota Vikings is 93, Indianapolis Colts is 93. Today's game is in Minneapolis on the 93rd meridian, and Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 93. I've noticed this week a lot of different sports are emphasizing headlines, certain words about Peterson's return, and almost every single emphasis I have seen, the words used have summed to 55. Minneapolis equals 55, and 55 has been a huge number on Andrew Luck's season. He began this NFL season with 55 career games played because he sat out last year with a lot of injuries, by the numbers, fake injuries. And I was pointing out last year that him sitting out with 55 was a tribute with the Broncos and Super Bowls of the past. In Super Bowl 24, the Broncos lost to the 49ers 55-10. Last season, the Broncos were 55 years old. John Elway was 55 years old, who got blown out in Super Bowl 24. Notice last year, the Broncos won in the 49ers stadium, and they won with 24 points. All part of the script, tribute to history. Think about Broncos and Colts, both horse teams. I've been documenting a pattern between those two teams since 2014, the year of the horse. Also, don't forget, Andrew Luck drafted number 1 overall out of Stanford by the Colts. Because of that, Manning was shipped to the Broncos. Once upon a time in history, John Elway was drafted number 1 overall by the Colts out of Stanford, just like Andrew Luck, and then traded to the Broncos. You see the parallel? Okay, so heavy 93 on this game, the return of Adrian Peterson. Been talking about this game since before the season began. Told everyone in the beginning of the season this was going to be a big, huge, crucial game. Something else to think about. Adrian Peterson has a home in Houston. Andrew Luck played his high school ball there because his father, Oliver Luck, played for the Houston Oilers. I want you to notice that Houston equals 112, so does the name Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater faked his injury by the numbers. He's not really hurt. The whole narrative's made up. This is a fake league. Scripted, overpaid actors, liars, sellouts. The name Peterson equals 112. Think about Bridgewater and Peterson both missing the majority of the season. Andrew Luck, 112. His mother's name, Kathy Luck, equals 112. And so does horseshoe, the symbol for the Colts. Super Bowl 51 logo looks a lot like a horseshoe this year. And the Colts are not eliminated. They will not be eliminated unless they lose today and the Texans win. That would have to happen for the Colts to be eliminated. So here's something I've also been talking about all season. This is the 97th season of the NFL. The 97th season. On September 7th, ESPN, the magazine, wrote this article about how Andrew Luck has to earn it being the highest paid player in the NFL right now. The next highest paid player is Eli Manning, and since February of this year, I've been laying out how there's a strong narrative for a Colts and Giants Super Bowl, a rematch of the greatest game ever played, which was the 1958 championship. Those same two teams also met in 59. From 1958 to 2016 is 58 years. Freemasonry equals 58, secret society 58, United States 58, American football created by Freemasons, scripted weekly by the numbers by Freemasons. Could be a coincidence, but the phrase earn it equals 67, and the Colts are currently sitting at 6-7. Freemasonry also has gematria of 67. Right now, Andrew Luck is going to have to earn it if he wants to make it to the playoffs. And I have suspected since early in the season that the Colts would finish 9-7, sneak into the playoffs, and surprise teams in the 97th season of the NFL, reminiscent of Aaron Rodgers' season where he won the Super Bowl, surprising a lot of teams. You can remember the Packers had a beat-up team that year. They got healthy and hot at the end. Still possible for the Colts. They just blew out the Jets on Monday Night Football. Remember, that was Andrew Luck's 41st win, and they won with 41 points by the numbers. If the Colts win out and win the final 3 games, 3 straight, think about how the Cavs had to win 3 straight in the championship. The Cubs had to win 3 straight. What's the connection between Colts, Cavs, and Cubs? They're all kind of in the same region, and all of their team names start with C, the third letter. Will the Colts win 3 straight to close out the season? We'll see. Let's talk about this. We just talked about the significance of the matchup with the Vikings. In the preseason, I showed how there's an episode of Pawn Stars from years ago that seems to foreshadow this very game. Go back and watch my work from the preseason, Be clever when you search. I have a lot of videos. Always type my name, Zachary K. Hubbard. Then what else could you search to find that video? Vikings, Colts? Yeah, that'll bring it up. You got to know how to search in the age of the internet. So get this, from Andrew Luck's birthday to today's game is 97 days. 97, the 97th season of the NFL. The September 7th article by ESPN, the magazine. Will he win his first game today, becoming 7-7 on the season, on the way to 9-7? Possible. Remember, though, for Andrew Luck, this is going to be his 13th game this year. His record this season is 6-6 because they had him sit out on Thanksgiving with a supposed concussion. If you missed my work on that, the word concussion equals 60, Thanksgiving 60, Indianapolis 60. All part of the scripted tribute to have Andrew Luck sit out on Thanksgiving against the Steelers. Today's date, it's also a date with 39 numerology. 39, the reflection of 93. Andrew Luck, born on a date with 39 numerology. Indianapolis on the 39th parallel. 39, 93, very important numbers to the gang of Freemasons and Zionists who govern over the NFL. Again, Minnesota on the 93rd meridian. Minneapolis, Minnesota, 93, just like Minnesota Vikings and Indianapolis Colts. Got to know your S exceptions. From today's game to the Super Bowl is 49 days. The square root of 49 is 7. I noticed that if the Colts win today, they'll be 7-7, and if the Vikings were to lose, they would also be 7-7. 7-7. All time, the Vikings, this is their record against the Colts. The Vikings have mostly lost against the Colts. They've played 23 times to date. They've won 7, lost 15, and tied once. And if you count the playoffs, they've lost a 16th time. So, in the regular season, that means the Colts are 15-7-1 against the Vikings. If they win today, they'll be 16-7-1. 16-7 is a lot like 167, the 39th prime number. You never seen my work on New York and all the Super Bowls won. Every single New York Super Bowl win, 4 by the Giants, 1 by the Jets. They all connect back to 39, big number in New York. When the Jets won Super Bowl III, they won 16-7, a lot like 167. In a moment, we'll talk about Andrew Luck's last week loss against Houston and how it was all about 167-39. We'll get there in a moment. For the Colts to win the Super Bowl, they'll have to win 7 straight games. To make it to the Super Bowl, they'll have to win 6 straight games. 13 is a huge number with Andrew Luck. I've been documenting this since last year. When he missed his first career game, it was on a date with 13 numerology. It was against the Jaguars. Matt Hasselbeck was the backup QB. The game went to overtime, 13-13. Before the video, I showed why Luck was missing on a date with 13 numerology, and then the game went to 13-13 overtime. Think about it. Look at this, though. The number 13, it's the 6th prime number. So 13 and 6 have a relationship. Can Andrew Luck begin a winning streak of 6 straight today? It's also the 7th Fibonacci number. The word Fibonacci in gematria sums to 44. This year's Super Bowl will be on a date with 44 numerology. In Andrew Luck's high school hometown of Houston. The name Luck in Jewish gematria sums to 233, which is also the 13th Fibonacci number, 13. It's also the 51st prime number. Super Bowl 51 upcoming. Houston Texans equals 51. Conspiracy 51. Conspiracy, the big way, is 123. Indianapolis, the big way, is 123. Conspiracy with the S exceptions also 60, like Indianapolis. Here's the date numerology of the Super Bowl. 44, Fibonacci 44. Adrian Peterson's birthday is 44 days after the Super Bowl. The date of the Super Bowl is also a date with 24 numerology. Colts equals 24. Today's game against Minnesota is the 24th regular season matchup for the Colts and Vikings. The Pawn Stars episode called Colts and Vikings, it came out on a date with 45 numerology. I just want to point out that when you write out 13, it equals 45. That was the 322nd episode, 322, important number to Freemasonry. Colts and Vikings, July 24th, 2014. Supposedly it was season 10, episode 6 as well. 10-6, kind of like 106, number of prophecy. Here we are at this very significant game by the numbers. The episode was called Colts and Vikings, which has gematria of 179, which is the 41st prime number. 41 is the 13th prime number. Back to 13. Multiple 13 connections. Colts winners of Super Bowl 41. The Colts originally from Baltimore. Baltimore equals 41, just like Super Bowl. Talked about how Prince died earlier this year in Minnesota. Remember Prince's death in Minnesota, April 21st, 2016, a date with 41 numerology. Prince performed in Super Bowl 41. This year, Jim Irsay equals 41. Jim Irsay bought Prince's guitar that he used in Super Bowl 41 on the anniversary of Purple Rain, June 25th, by the numbers. All things I have videos on. Go back and watch these videos. Countless videos on these topics, documenting. That TV show also called Pawn Stars has gematria of 131, like Super Bowl, like championship. When you write out 57, it sums to 131. World Series equals 57. Last year, ESPN had the story all year on their NFL front page. 57 kids named after Peyton Manning in the state of Indiana. Minute 31 video up all season. All things you can go back and watch. So here's the remaining schedule for the Colts: at Vikings, at Raiders, at home against Jacksonville. Jim Irsay has been dropping some clues about Jacksonville. The Raiders game after this week will be on a date with 45 numerology, connecting to 13, number significant to Andrew Luck. It'll be a date with 52 numerology. If I'm not mistaken, the Raiders and Colts in history are part of the historic game Ghost to the Post. So if the Colts are still alive after this weekend, I'll do more research on next week's Raiders game. I'm sure there's something there with Ghost to the Post. They emphasized that play last year when Ken Stabler died by the numbers, which I have a video on. Former MVP quarterback for the Raiders. Next week's game will be 104 days from Andrew Luck's birthday. When you write out 14, it sums to 104. It will be his 14th game of the season next year, Andrew Luck, because he missed on Thanksgiving. The final game of the season against the Jaguars will be on a date with 39 numerology in Indianapolis on the 39th parallel. Andrew Luck again with the 39 birth numerology. Also a date with 12 numerology. Andrew Luck wears 12. Looks like a symbolic date for Andrew Luck. From Andrew Luck's birthday until the last game of the season is also a span of 112 days. Andrew Luck, 112. Is Andrew Luck going to get lucky and sneak into the playoffs? A lot of people who follow my work think the Colts are going to finish 8-8 and sneak into the playoffs. It's possible if the Texans lose out. The Colts own the tiebreaker over the Titans, who are originally from Houston because they beat them both times this year. Here's Jim Irsay, recent tweet from November 30th. The faithless. Jim Irsay is the owner of the Colts. The faithless could be felt after a late season loss to Jacksonville in 2006, yet a Super Bowl parade occurred weeks later. That was the year of Super Bowl 41. He references Jacksonville, who the Colts play for their final game. Look at the score, 44-17. That was the blowout late in the season in the year of Super Bowl 41. You know? Will there be deja vu? Very possibly. So I want to point out how last week's game ended. The score was 22-17. The Colts got the ball after the Texans' late score. Notice the score, 22-17. That's a sum of 39 points. The game was in Indianapolis on the 39th parallel. The Colts got the ball back with 2:47 on the clock. That's 167 seconds. 167 is the 39th prime. And again, I document how these games are scripted to the second. They stop the clock where it needs to stop for the tributes. You know? Last week's game, also a date with 39 numerology on the 39th parallel. 39 tributes all day. Sunday Night Football, which is always 39 heavy, was there. If you watched Sunday Night Football last week, Dallas and the Giants, and I said why the Giants would win that game. I've been saying for years how sports streaks end in 14. The Cowboys were on a streak coming into week 14. The word end equals 14. Plus a few other things. But anyway, Sunday Night Football was all 39 last week. They put up so many 39 stats over the game. When Dez Bryant fumbled at the end, they said, first fumble for Dez Bryant in 39 weeks. These guys are nothing more than puppets. Dez Bryant fumbled the ball because that's what he was told to do. It's a joke out here in the NFL. Andrew Luck fumbled last week at the goal line because that's what he was told to do. The games are scripted. All of you who are still on the fence if the games are scripted, look, learn to eat better food. Your brain must be retarded if you follow my work and still think the games aren't scripted. You know, and the American people truly are retarded, and they've been purposefully made into being retarded. And for all of you who get offended at the word retarded, all it means is stunted. Show me an American. I'll show you a grown child. Almost every American, immature, not developed, not mature, you know. Idiotic, eating poisonous food, watching poisonous shit TV programming, watching these fake sports and being too retarded to see how fake and rigged they are. I mean, for anyone who's an athlete, I don't know how you can watch pro sports. I've been an athlete my whole life. I've been intelligent my whole life. Pro sports have never looked legitimate. I mean, for anyone who plays sports, go watch pro sports. It looks nothing alike. Millionaires not even trying, dropping easy balls. How many receivers do you need to see drop a ball in the NFL before you figure out something's going on? For any of you who played football and were receivers in high school, I bet you hardly ever dropped the ball. You know? I never dropped the ball growing up. I watched these pros who get paid millions drop the ball every weekend in crucial plays. What is this? It's because it's a joke. Also this year, Super Bowl LI, Super Bowl 51 breaks down to 39. It's in NRG Stadium. NRG's 39 in Houston. Construction began on the stadium March 9th, 3/9 or 9/3. Big numbers on the Colts Vikings game, coming 49 days before the Super Bowl. This was the final play of the game with 84 seconds left at the 42-yard line. Remember, the Colts moved to Indianapolis for the 84 season. 4th and 1, 41, tribute to 13. The Houston quarterback had 24 attempts. Colts equals 24. Luck had 45 attempts with 24 completions. 45 connects to 13. When you write out 13, it equals 45. Colts 24. Frank Gore, 41 rushing yards, 83 total yards. Football equals 83. They say the best draft class was the class of 83. Script. So here's one of my followers. Helps me out a lot. Makes great observations. Michael. Michael noticed these two things about this week's game. He says when you write out 97 as a word in Sumerian gematria, it sums to 912. This is the 97th season of the NFL. Andrew Luck's born September 12th, 9/12. Today's game coming 97 days after his 9/12 birthday. Isn't that interesting? 97, 9/12. Then Michael noticed if you write out 912, it sums to 1218. 1218, that's like today's date, December 18th. And from his birthday to December 18th is 97 days. How amazing is that? That all of that syncs so perfectly. Andrew Luck and the Colts could become 7-7 today. Last week, the AFC South, every single game in the division was connected to 13. The Titans defeated the Broncos 13-10, a sum of 23 points. 83 is the 23rd prime number. Football equals 83. Colorado 83. I should look. Maybe Mariota's 23 years old right now, too. He very well might be. So there was one 13 tribute. The other game was Vikings and Jaguars, 25-16, sum of 41 points, the 13th prime number. At halftime, this game was 9-9. When you write out 13, it can sum to 45 or 99. And then there was also the Texans-Colts game, where at halftime it was 13-3. The final score was 22-17, which sums to 39. 39 is divisible by 13. 3 times 13 is 39. 39 divided by 13 is 3. Halftime score, 13-3. In the Broncos, it was 13-0. Another game that was 13 at the half, Lions and Bears. Remember, the Lions have the former Colts coach. They've had a pattern ongoing since 2014. Watch my video in 2014 on the Lions and Colts. Vikings and Jaguars were 9-9 at the half. Again, when you write out 13, it sums to 99. The Bavarian Illuminati was established in history May 1st, 1776. That's a date with 99 numerology. It was established with 13 families. There was a lot of 13 at the half last week. So much. 13's been a huge number all year. Remember in week 4, I said it was going to be all about 13, and by the end of the day, 13 teams were 1-3. That was the easiest week to pick games because you could just see everybody who was going to be 1-3. It was just, okay, that game's going to go that way, this game's going to go this way, and it all went that way. 13 teams, 1-3 by game's end. One of the sports headlines this past week was the death of the former NFL tight end who played for the Ravens, from Baltimore, where the Colts are originally from, also for the Jets. Colts and Jets once met in Super Bowl III. They just had the symbolic game on Monday Night Football. And this man, the last team he was with, was the Colts, wearing the number 49. Today's game, 49 days from the Super Bowl in Houston. Former Ravens Jets tight end Conrad Rowland dead at 29. Football the small way, 29. Always relevant. This man was a teammate with Andrew Luck at Stanford. They both played college ball together at Stanford. Conrad Rowland, 57. Andrew Austin Luck, 57. When you write out 57, it connects to Super Bowl championship. I noticed the name Conrad Rowland also sums to 138, like Donald Trump. Think about this. In the beginning of the season, I said the Super Bowl would be the New York Giants and the Indianapolis Colts. I could be wrong, but it could still happen. And if it happens, think about the current presidential ticket. Donald Trump from New York, Mike Pence from Indianapolis, Indiana. By the way, Mike Pence equals 45, the number connected to 13. Donald Trump, the 45th president. This man wore number 88 for the Jets, Conrad Rowland. The name Trump equals 88. This is the reason a lot of my subscribers think the Colts are going to finish 8-8 and make it to the Super Bowl. We'll see. They're going to have to get really lucky, and I'm sure that will be the headline if they finish at 8-8. The name Roland also has gematria of 75, like Indianapolis Colts, like Minnesota Vikings. His death came just before this game. It was announced after Monday Night Football. The Baltimore coach, John Harbaugh, made the announcement. Again, the Colts, originally from Baltimore. He was born on April 4th in the year 87. 4-4. The word kill 44. This year, the Super Bowl on a date with 44 numerology. Where he's from, Mission Viejo, California. Look at that. Mission Viejo, California. 112, like Houston, Horseshoe, Andrew Luck. Kathy Luck, his mother's name. Mission Viejo alone also has gematria of 60, like Indianapolis. Again, in the world of professional sports, which are rigged, they also involve occult sacrifice. So often, former players, celebrities being murdered in relation to what's going on in these sports leagues. And you'll only catch it if you're aware of these languages of numerology and gematria, why this is being done. They said this man died from a brain aneurysm. Something else is going on. His date of birth, a date with 33 numerology. With regards to 33, I got to remind you, 33 years ago, the Houston Oilers, Archie Manning and Oliver Luck were teammates. Fathers of Eli Manning and Andrew Luck, the two highest paid players in the NFL right now. He died December 12th, this man. It was a date with 60 numerology. Indianapolis, 60. Mission Viejo, where he's from. Conspiracy also sums to 60. It was a date with a life lesson number of 33. This is the 33rd year the Colts have been, or 33rd season the Colts have been in Indianapolis. It was a date with 15 numerology. When you write out 15, it sums to 38, like death, like killing. Prince died by this same number earlier this year. He died on 12/12. 12 times 12 is 144. He was born on April 4th. When you write out April 4th, when you write out 44, they both sum to 144. And again, gematria explains why there's things such as the spelling of 44. The spelling of 44 doesn't make any sense. Why would you ever spell 40 without a U? It makes no fucking sense. And the reason it makes no sense is because the entire language is based on gematria. 144 is a number that represents time. This world has been built around us by the Freemasons by the numbers. The word aneurysm has gematria of 44. He supposedly died from a brain aneurysm. The word brain equals 44. You know, born on 4/4, dead from a brain aneurysm. From his death to his upcoming birthday is 113 days, like mainstream, like dishonest. It's very possible that this man's also not dead. Perhaps this is how he, escapes his football celebrity and goes on to do whatever with the rest of his life. 113, though, number of dishonesty. It's also a span of 114 days. John Harbaugh made the announcement. John Harbaugh 113. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And here he is. The last team he was a part of were the Indianapolis Colts. He didn't record any stats with them, but he was a part of the team. Number 49. Today's game is 49 days from the Super Bowl. His death was just before this week's games. The announcement at the end of week 14. And again, when you write out 14 as a word, it sums to 41. Baltimore equals 41. It was the Baltimore Ravens coach that made the announcement. Last year, I documented what was significant about many deaths, from Frank Gifford to this former Baltimore tight end, Jim Moeller. These are both men who played in the greatest game ever played. Frank Gifford died by the numbers last year at the time of the Hall of Fame game. A number of other older time players died. All of the deaths pointed to the greatest game ever played, which is where I was going with the narrative from the beginning about Colts and Giants in the Super Bowl. And I thought it would also be a further tribute to Peyton Manning, who retired at age 39 last year, who started his career with the Colts, and who has his little brother Eli that plays on the Giants. In history, the last time Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, Eli won the next year. Super Bowl 41 to the Colts, Super Bowl 42 to the Giants. And then remember, Peyton would lose in his next Super Bowl, Super Bowl 44, to his father's team, the Saints, who never won anything. Just think about that. Archie Manning's team finally wins a Super Bowl against his son. What a joke. I watched that game with my family, and I was telling them all, I was like, can't you guys see how stupid this is? Look at Peyton Manning just throwing that purposeful interception to the secondary. All my family's like, oh, no way, Zach. Yeah, just American people make the dumbest arguments, from my family to everyone else. Why would millionaires play in fake sports? I mean, they just answered the question as they ask it. Why would millionaires play in fake sports? How about think about that question again? Mr. Uncle who slaves and works a midnight shift for almost no dollars? You know, the American people, they're just fucking retarded. I'll say that about my own family because that's what I'm from. I'm from a family of fucking moron losers, just like the majority of America. That's what America is. A nation of sheep, bred cattle, meant to be stupid, lazy, fat, retarded, sitting on their fat asses, watching rig sports, and too fucking retarded to see through it. So you need to decide, are you a fucking retard? Is being a fucking retard cattle watching these fake games enough for you? For a lot of fucking losers it is. You don't want to be a fucking loser though. So anyhow, this guy, dead at age 85, National Football League 85, special number to the gang, the birthplace of the NFL in Chicago. When was the last time the Bears won a Super Bowl? 85? This guy's name in gematria sums to 168 and 60. He played in the greatest game ever played between the Colts and the Giants. New York City won 68. Indianapolis 60. And the reason I put Massachusetts in here is because if there's any team that's going to upset the Colts this year and appear in the Super Bowl against the Giants instead, it's likely Tom Brady and the Patriots for part 3. And I really hope we don't see that. As much as I hate rig sports, I just can't stand to see Tom Brady and his sorry-ass arm and him standing all day in the pocket and throwing his little slant passes that no defense can stop. I mean, think about how fucking retarded you'd have to be to not be able to defend Tom Brady and the Patriots. It's been the same script his whole career. Little slant pass, receiver runs for 40 yards, runs for 80 yards. Only team that can do that every week. Now that Peyton Manning's no longer in the league. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, two mediocre athletes who have all day in the pocket to throw to wide open receivers. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know how anyone watches these games and can't see how rigged they are. You just think that their offensive linemen are always the most amazing. They're just so well coached by Bill Belichick and his hoodie. I mean, give me a break, people. It's a joke. This man who died by the numbers, was born on a date with 83 numerology, the football number. Dead on a date with 49 numerology, 29 numbers of football, numbers we're talking about. He played his college ball at Notre Dame. College sports rigged just like NFL. If there's Vegas gambling, it's rigged. Notre Dame, Baltimore. James Bucky, dead at age 85 by the numbers. And that's the way this gang operates, you know? They talk about how he caught the big play that set up the win in the 1958 championship 58 years ago. Last year, number 58, the MVP, Cam Newton, the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. Cam Newton playing in the Super Bowl not far from where Huey P. Newton established the Black Panthers in Oakland. Huey P. Newton equals 58, Oakland 58, Cam Newton with the Black Panther on his helmet, the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. Von Miller drafted one pick behind him, number 58, wins the MVP as I predicted months before the game was even set. So here's another news from the past week, December 12th, the same day the tight end died, Conrad, with the bizarre K spelling. The Colts signed someone from their secondary who's a former New York Giant and former Houston Texan. Remember this year when the pipeline broke in Alabama that ran from Houston to New York, and I showed how that was connected to the greatest game ever played and connected to the river turning red in Alabama, or not in Alabama, in Russia, and they were calling the river Crimson Tide. I said, watch, all of this stuff's connected. You'll probably end up seeing Alabama in the national championship game again, going for their 17th title in 2017. You'll probably see the Giants in the Super Bowl. Where do the Colts play? Lucas Oil Stadium. That pipeline leak happened in Alabama, which equals 13. It's Eli's 13th season. We've been talking about Andrew Luck in 13. So I learned something from this guy's name. There's a form of gematria that I never use. I thought this was a bogus form of gematria on this calculator, but perhaps I've been ignorant. On the Writing the Beast calculator, their form of English gematria is different than what's at Gematrix, where that's also called English gematria. But this Writing the Beast calculator, somebody else pointed this out to me. When you write out Colts, it sums to 393. We've been talking about 39 and 93. When you write out Indianapolis, it sums to 393. Charles James, this player they just signed, equals 393. How bizarre is that? You know? This is, again, how I build knowledge over time, and I realize that more and more gematria methods are relevant to this study. When I started, I only knew about 2, and I knew that those methods were interrelated, super relevant. Over time, I've made more discoveries and said, aha, this must also be factored into the equation. And that's what I'm saying here with this signing of Charles James in light of what's on the gematria calculator at Writing the Beast. He was waived by the Texans on a date with 33 numerology. In his stats up here, it talks about how he's played in 33 games. Again, it's been 33 years that the Colts have been in Indianapolis. He now joins the team for this crucial stretch. See if this guy ends up making a big contribution. Perhaps he will. The day he signed with the Colts was also a date with a life lesson number of 33. Cut on a date with 33 numerology, signed on a date, 33 games played. It's all a script. This is the way it really works with players. How many of you in the past cheer for these teams and your team just makes a completely illogical move? Getting rid of a player that they shouldn't? It's because it's all a script. These men's careers are scripted. They get put on certain teams because of what's going on with the rituals in the league. The league is nothing but an occult joke by the numbers. And again, you shouldn't even need the numbers to see what a joke these pro leagues are. These pro leagues make 0 sense. Look at how LeBron James is this huge celebrity athlete. How many times in his career have the games been on the line in the finals and he doesn't even want to take a shot? He's delegating to some other player on the team. Because it's all scripted. You can just see it in the players' faces. I said last year before the Super Bowl was played, Eli Manning's face has given away how fake the NFL is his whole career. He looks like the kid who got forced into it, who never wanted to be there. I still remember his face after the catch. Remember the catch in the Super Bowl? David Tyree, number 85, National Football League, who had the same birthday as Eli Manning, January 3rd. 1-3-13, Eli Manning now in his 13th season. So a couple more notes. The Lions defeated the Bears last week, 20-17, sum of 37. Detroit equals 37, December 37. Week 1, it was Colts versus Lions. The Colts took the lead in the game with exactly 37 seconds left on the clock. I have a video on this. You'd think that the Colts won the game. They have the lead, 37 seconds left. Then what happens? The Lions go right down the field and kick a field goal to take the lead with 37 points. Then at the end, the Colts purposefully take a safety to bring it to 39. But it got that 37-37 tribute. And in the preseason, I documented how Zerlon Tipton, the Colts running back who scored the only touchdown in the Deflategate game, who wore number 37, died by the numbers in Detroit. Zerlon Tipton, number 37, dead in Detroit. Colts lose their first game by the number 37 to the Lions. Lions getting the big win. Last week, another tribute to 37. 37 is the 12th prime number. Andrew Luck wears 12. Something going on here. Again, the Lions have the former Colts coach. From the death of Zerlon Tipton to the Super Bowl 223 days, the name Moncrief equals 223, the man who adopted the daughter of Zerlon Tipton. Very strange. Very strange. Notice Stafford had 223 passing yards in this game. Isn't it bizarre? It's because it's all scripted tributes. So here's a commercial you'll probably see today. I saw this. I didn't even watch that much TV yesterday. My girlfriend was watching, I don't know, Investigation, Discovery or something. They kept playing this commercial. Look at this commercial. A guy with a 51 on his shirt. The jersey looks an awful lot like the Colts. You know, what other team has a jersey that looks like that? The next closest jersey might be the Giants. This is for Bayer Aleve. If you see this commercial, Bayer Aleve, the pain medicine. Bayer equals 51. Commercials do this all the time, by the way. Next time, pay attention to a Walmart commercial. See how many 88s they put on the screen. There was a Walmart commercial last NFL season where everyone has on a number 88 jersey. People are wearing 88 hats. Walmart equals 88. Anyway, Bayer equals 51, like the jersey number, like Super Bowl 51, like how Houston Texans equals 51, who are hosting. Bayer also equals 24. Colts equals 24. It's their 24th game against the Vikings in the regular season today. We'll see what happens. This is a new commercial. Last week, some people also pointed some things that were going on with 94 in the games. This week, the Lions and Giants play each other. They're both 9-4. Indianapolis, Indiana happens to have gematria of 94. Somebody did some decoding and saw that there was a Texas train wreck 94 days before last week's game. I did a little more research on this, and I found that there was another Texas train wreck not too far from Dallas on August 22nd of this past year, exactly 111 days before the Cowboys lost in New York. New York equals 111. The Cowboys were 11-1 heading into that game. And again, if you've never seen my work before, I've been showing over the years how fake train crashes are used as riddles for sports. I used the Philadelphia train wreck of a little more than a year ago to show how the NBA Finals would be Warriors and Cavs. And last year's train wreck, which came in Philadelphia just before the National College Basketball Championship, I said this might be deja vu. This might mean that Villanova is going to win the championship. Remember, the Warriors from Golden State are originally from Philadelphia. We've had these Philadelphia train wrecks connected to basketball, plus more. There was the New Jersey train station crash earlier this year. The last time there was a train wreck at that station, the Giants went on to win the Super Bowl. Notice this train wreck synced up with the Cowboys at New York Giants game. This is how crazy the world is that you live in. The people who govern over us, who steal all of our money, these people are obviously bored madmen. They have all the money in the world because they have this nation of working slaves, grown men who go to work every day, do their job they hate, pay all this tax money, pout about their life, and then watch the fake football game. What I'm trying to do is wake up the masses so they stop behaving this way. Stop behaving like slaves who, the best thing they can do in their life is watch a fake football game. Let's, instead of piling into the stadiums and giving our money to these assholes, let's wake up the masses and take the world back. You know what I'm saying? That's the message. That's why these videos are made. I don't care about the rigged sports or the outcomes. I care about waking up the fucking retards. This wreck, by the way, was near Highway 377, which is the 14th Fibonacci number. The loss last week came in week 14, 111 days later, when the Cowboys were 11-1 heading into New York. They'd won 11 straight. New York's the 11th state. Remember? Giants beat them week 1, 20-19, a sum of 39. New York equals 39 the small way, 111 the big way. Last week, the Giants won 10-7. Eli Manning got his 106th win all time. Eli Manning's full name in gematria sums to 106. also 88. Eli equals 17. Notice the sum of the game, 17 points. He wears the number 10. When you write out 10, it sums to 39, like New York, like Sunday Night Football, SNF. Looks like I forgot to put SNF there. I'll just show you this real quick. SNF, 19 plus 14 plus 6 using the alphabetic order. Sunday Night Football is 39. Sunday Night Football is always about 39. Again, last week's game, 39 date numerology, 10 equals 39. New York, MSG for Madison Square Garden. The name Madison's 39. Everything about Madison's history is centered around 39. James Madison, G-Min 39. Every Giants Super Bowl win is connected to 39. Empire State, Empire 39. You see it? The United Nations there is 39 floors tall. New York was established in history July 26, 1788. Date with 39 numerology. Cowboys have the gematria of 39. Oh, there's the SNF. Week 1, the Giants beat them 20-19. 39 points. You know? You got to be a fucking moron to criticize my work or to troll me in light of what I've shown in the last 3 years. Showing most people more than they'll see in their entire lifetime. You can go to college and pay for 10 degrees. You can give $1 million to these universities. You won't learn as much as you learn on my channel for free. And that's on purpose. My only motivation is to wake up all these fucking retards I'm so sick of living around. You know? Imagine what it is to be me. I've been awake my whole life. Since I was 18 years old when 9/11 happened. Imagine what it is to see 9/11 for what it is. Live in a nation of fucking retards who can't see how bad they got duped that day. You know, then all of a sudden Tom Brady, this piece of shit quarterback, getting touted as the greatest thing ever, just throwing to wide open receivers who just run down the field. People are really fucking retarded in America. My motivation is to wake up these sorry ass fucking sheep with their heads so far up their ass I can't even express it. I want to point out that when the Giants won with 20 earlier this year, that also connects to Eli's name. Of course, the Giants drafted Eli Apple, number 10 overall, which I predicted a month before the draft. I said, watch the Giants draft Eli Apple with the 10th pick, and I explained how 10 connects to New York. Oh, truth seeker. So bad out here. And yes, I am speaking extra harsh in the second half of this video for all the fucking morons that watch and troll every week. Ready to turn these fucking losers into fertilizer. Also last week, one of the headlines was Deflategate 2.0. Think about it. The Giants now involved in a Deflategate. The Colts. DeQuell Jackson, the player who caught the interception in the Deflategate game, has been suspended for the final 4 games of the season for the Colts. Tom Brady was suspended for the first 4. The whole Deflategate thing is a joke. Deflategate equals 41. That was just a made-up narrative by the numbers. Your NFL's the WWE. But anyway, Giants, they said another Deflategate type of thing here with the Steelers. Deflategate has gematria of 41. The Giants lost with 14 points. When you write out 14, it sums to 41. Giants and Colts now connected to Deflategate games. We'll see what it means soon enough. So there's always more, but that's enough for now. I'm guessing this video is probably nearly an hour long. Look, the time's 9:07. I guess I'll just cut it off right there. It's meant to be. Till next time, Truth Seeker.